Now let's discuss the latest and greatest coming from Jack Mallers, the Strike CEO, along with his $1 million Bitcoin price prediction. This was news a few months back when Bitcoin payments app Strike expanded to more than 65 countries from just 3, helping to usher in mass adoption. That's right, the Strike app, as we know, uses the Bitcoin Lightning Network, a secondary network for cheaper and faster Bitcoin transactions to offer global payments and cross-border money transfer services. The app now sports a brand new user interface. How many of you are currently using Strike, fam? Let me know. Strike says the expansion will increase its total addressable market to almost 3 billion people. That's like roughly half the population of the entire world. So that's a pretty big deal. Massive kudos to Jack Mallers for doing this. Quoting them here, our end goal is to address the 7 to 8 billion people in every single country, said Manuela Rios, Strike's vice president of the product, in a new interview. Rios says the app's user new interface will feature a seamless onboarding experience, something she said the company has been working on for years. Quoting her again, if you're in the United States, the apps are gorgeous. There is a really high bar for their design. But unfortunately, that's not the case when you download the apps abroad. So just FYI. And then a little bit later, maybe a month or 2 later, they expanded their Send Globally payment service to Mexico. Now, anyone in Mexico tuned into the show, let me know. I got a lot of love from Mexico. That's right, Strike, a money app for fast, safe payments, and Bitcoin announced the expansion of Send Globally to Mexico, bringing its revolutionary payment services to the largest market for remittances from the United States. Check this out. Mexico received a record 60 billion in remittances from the U.S. alone, making up around 95% of total remittances abroad. Sending a payment from the U.S. to Mexico cost an average of 4.5% of the transaction value. That is absolutely ludicrous. So can you see this as a disruption technology? 100%. Quoting them here, cross-border payments from the U.S. to Mexico have reached where'd we go here? I got lost here on the site. Okay, here we are. Okay, from Mexico reached unprecedented levels, serving as a lifeline for millions of people, said Jack Mallers. However, existing payment services are costly and ineffective and inefficient, making them inaccessible to many. At Strike, everyone should have access to better payments and financial stability. We're excited to bring fast, low-cost cross-border payments via the Lightning Network to Mexico, enabling more people to send more money home. So when using Send Globally, the dollars are converted, here's how it works, into Bitcoin and sent via the Lightning Network to a third-party partner. That partner converts the Bitcoin into the local currency, sent directly to the recipient's local account, such as their bank account. Now in Mexico, Strike partnered with Relampago to enable the transfers from US dollars received as local currency directly into a recipient's bank account. Quoting them here, Relampago is a proud partner with Strike to revolutionize money transfers from the U.S. to Mexico, the world's largest cross-border payments corridor, he said. And by harnessing the Lightning Network, we enable instant, low-cost cross-border payments that are transforming the financial landscape for millions of Latin America and individuals. And since launching the feature in December of last year, Strike quickly expanded Send Globally to over a dozen countries, and now I believe it's over 30 countries, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Nigeria, and now Mexico, amongst the top 10 largest cross-border markets. So there you have it. Real talk, fam. If you have the option to use an app, which is available on anyone's smartphone, and you can send and receive funds virtually for free instantaneously using Bitcoin, the monetary network, and any currency, send, receive, or swap, etc., without any downside, would you choose that? Or would you want to use Western Union or MoneyGram and go pay 20% to send some funds back to your friends or family? It makes no sense to latter, and that's why this disruptive technology with Bitcoin and Lightning Network will continue to take over the world. It's only a matter of time. Now we discussed the tech. Now let's dive more deeper into Jack Mallers' $1 million price prediction and break this down, shall we? Now, he did an interview and he discussed Bitcoin beating hyperinflation. Speaking on CNBC's Power Lunch with Kelly Evans, the Strike CEO discussed the role of Bitcoin in the ongoing banking crisis. And Mallers says he is convinced the Bitcoin price will hit $1 million plus, fueled by global hyperinflation. Moreover, Mallers reiterated the fact fact that there would only be 21 million Bitcoins despite the increased demand. And I actually transcribed this interview. I'm going to be reading it to you for a moment, but I also want to quote him here. My overall opinion is that the name of the game is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. The altcoins are interesting, but a lot more speculative. I use them to accumulate more BTC. And now for the transcribe. I did myself the transcription from that interview. Here's what Jack Mallers had to say. Very powerful words. Check it out. If silver is gonna 1000x, I will walk into my kitchen right now and I will melt all my silverware and I will sell it at market. And if gold is gonna rally, Elon Musk will find more on Mars. This is a super important point. Bitcoin is the only monetary instrument in the history of our species that is fixed. Facts. It does not matter how much more demand comes into the asset class. No one will ever be able to make more of it. There are two things that I can guarantee you in my life. Number one, that I'll die. And number two, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. And those are the two things that I could only value. It's my life and my Bitcoin. So it is the only fixed supply asset. It's not that complicated. It's going to go up because everything else can be issued more. Preach. The only thing that is clear to us and clear to our customers is that you cannot hold and save in dollars anymore. Tell them. I think there is going to be a new era of the US dollar where inflation will enter a normalized 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. The days of 2% in inflation are over. The Fed really blew this thing up. I mean, he's preaching facts here, fam. You can call it inflation because the CPI is a load of nonsense, right? Like the government is going to tell me how the dollar is inflating based on a basket of instruments like my Netflix subscription or my Caesar salad doesn't actually tell me how well the dollar is doing or how much is being devalued. Miami real estate does. Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is up over 50% this year. You're telling me the dollar isn't inflating? You're out of your mind. I am not listening to that. The Fed and the whole monetary system is based on trust, and they constantly break that trust. It would be the equivalent to there is a fire outside of my house. I smell the smoke, and someone tells me, no, it's just a bunch of teenagers putting on a bonfire. Okay, but I hear a police siren. Are you sure it's a bonfire? Yeah, it's a bonfire. Now I hear 10 sirens, then 100 sirens. Now my whole community is running outside. I'm not going to get up and look outside the window and see what's going on. I don't believe them for a second. You have to be absolutely crazy to believe the Federal Reserve right now. They are full of it, and I don't have to because I own Bitcoin. There is no one that can deflate my instrument. I get to hold it, saving it. I know the monetary policy, and I sleep like a baby, like the baby face that I am. I think you are crazy to believe the Fed in these swap lines and treating these assets at par. It is a gimmick. It is a scam. So there you have it. Very powerful words coming from the Strike CEO, Jack Mallers. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the fearless leader in the comments right down below.